Hello, I'm Dr. Lisa Belisle. I'm the host of Radio Maine, our video podcast where we celebrate creativity and the human spirit. Have you ever had the feeling that there's more to your life than the roles that you play? That there's something creative, maybe even a little wild, waiting just under the surface? If so, you're not alone, and you're in the right place. This is a special solo episode of Radio Maine, where we explore and celebrate creativity and the human spirit every week. For more than 200 episodes, I've had the privilege of sitting down with painters and poets, entrepreneurs and physicians, podcasters and recovery advocates, people from all walks of life who are doing meaningful work and living rich inner lives. This week, I wanted to pause and take a minute from the usual interview format and reflect, to bring my full self to the mic and maybe help you reconnect with your full self. My work has taken many forms over the years. I've been a family doctor, trained in public health, integrative medicine, and leadership. I've raised 3 kids. I've been involved in the lives of 3 bonus kids. I've hosted radio shows, written essays, and now I find myself podcasting, writing, and leading, with the help of my teammates, a virtual-first healthcare company, all from a little island off the coast of Maine. But the thread that ties it together, story. And if I trace that story back, it begins with my father. Dr. Charlie Belisle was a family physician like me, and teacher who trained hundreds of residents over more than half a century. As a young girl, I used to ride with him while he made house calls. I'd sit in the passenger seat, his black doctor's bag on my lap, its weight pressing into my knees. Inside were the tools of his trade. But what fascinated me even more was how he listened, how he met each person with calm and presence. That early experience didn't just shape my decision to pursue medicine. It gave me a way of seeing people that stayed with me in every room I've ever entered, clinical or creative. That perspective, the belief that healing is both science and story, is what brought me to Radio Maine. And it's also what led me to start the Bountiful Path, a newsletter where I reflect on the intersections of medicine, creativity, and leadership. The stories I share behind the mic and on the page aren't just about accomplishments. They're about the messy, beautiful work of becoming. And I'm not alone in this. One reader of the newsletter, Carolyn Delaney, who was one of our past guests and also the founder of Journey magazine, said in this response to a recent piece, "Good work and good stories don't have to wait for perfect conditions. We can weave together compassion, story, presence, and action, even in the middle of real life." That's the kind of space I want to hold for myself, for my guests, and for you. That brings me to a recent guest, Chip Brewer. Chip's a writer, improv teacher, and founder of Growth Story. We talked about sneaky bonding, those small moments of connection that happen when we're creating or collaborating. Whether it's storytelling or skating on a men's hockey team, he reminded me that creativity isn't just about making things. It's about making space for each other, for nuance, for joy. That's the essence of this podcast, conversations that help us see differently, conversations that help us feel less alone. Most mornings, I write in a small room tucked off the den in our island home. A dragonfly lamp glows on the desk beside me. It was a gift from a patient in exchange for visits to my old practice, a reminder of the intimate exchanges that happen in healthcare when we truly show up for each other. The light from that lamp, in many ways, is my morning compass. It helps me to start the day with curiosity, with compassion, with gratitude. It reminds me why I do this work, not just as a doctor or a writer or a mother, but as a human being trying to stay awake to what matters. Why should you care? Because this podcast and the Bountiful Path aren't just about me or my guests, they're about you. If you're someone who values depth over noise, if you've ever felt pulled between roles and longed for integration, If you're curious about what it means to live a creative, connected life, you belong here. This space is for people who want to lead with heart, who are brave enough to ask real questions, and who understand that creativity isn't a side hustle, it's a life force. So thank you. Thank you for being here, for listening, for walking your own bountiful path wherever it leads. Next week, I'll return with another conversation, another voice in this constellation. But for today, I just wanted to say this. Your presence matters. Your story matters. And even in the midst of change or uncertainty, we can choose to keep showing up. Let's keep making space. Let's keep making meaning. Let's keep it bountiful. If this episode resonated with you, share it with a friend, a colleague, or someone you know who's navigating their own creative shift. Subscribe to the Bountiful Path on Substack if you'd like to go deeper, where I write weekly reflections inspired by the themes that we explore here on Radio Maine. And if you haven't yet, I invite you to browse the artist community at the Portland Art Gallery, the original home and creative partner of this podcast, because Radio Maine isn't just for artists. It's for anyone who values creativity, connection, and the courage to live more meaningfully. You don't have to be from Maine. You just have to share the vibe. I'm so glad you're here. Let's keep walking this path together. I'm Dr. Lisa Belisle. Thank you for joining me on this special episode of Radio Maine, sponsored by the Portland Art Gallery in Portland, Maine. Have a bountiful day.